This is the Authority Company podcast, conversations with leaders that are designing our future. Hola, I'm Joe Pardavila, and today I'm joined by Tamar Gakharia, the author of The Blitz, A Georgian Daughter's Rise as a CFO in the Post-Soviet Era. Tamar's story is remarkable, and we're going to give you a little taste of the book today. We're going to talk about how a young girl grew up in the shadow of the collapse of the Soviet Union to become a big-time CFO for the CBS Group, a top holding company in the Republic of Georgia. We're going to talk about that journey, the journey her parents took to get her in a position to become a successful businesswoman, and why she's dedicating the book to her daughter. Tamar, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really very excited.
And to give folks some context, Georgia separated from the Soviet Union in 1991, right around the time where communism, quote unquote, ended and the USSR was broken up. And you write about the struggles you and your family had to live through during those times. I can't even imagine. And you go into graphic detail about what you went through. So let's start with that in terms of the idea of sharing so much about your life, because I feel like people and this could be a stereotype, Tamar, like people in Eastern Europe and Russia, they have more of a facade than Americans do about being tough and no emotion. So what was it like for you to go through this journey and share all of the stuff that you went through?
Actually, I would describe this period as the period of gaining strength, because I could not, now I cannot imagine any part, wherever you put me, like take me from the Georgia and put me on another part of the world. I can't imagine any struggles or obstacles I could not overcome emotionally, mentally, or physically, because we have gone through a lot. And I have mentioned also the struggles my parents had to go through in my book, because I think that they are heroes. They are heroes because today it is even for some people it is even unimaginable. How can you live when you don't have mere utilities like electricity, water, the gas, and etc. How to raise the children without diapers, or without washing machine. And all this take me how to say, fill me with the gratitude towards the heroes of my nation after 1991. That's why my journey cannot be separated from the journey of my country. And I wanted to speak it up and speak it up loud, because I want to emphasize the fact how beautiful my country is, how beautiful the spirit of my nation is, and how much we have suffered. And it's not the dreams and how all the whole world has celebrated the dissolvement of USSR. It's not that the case, because after that we had to brick by heavy brick build our nation, build our future for our children. And it was really very tough.
Yeah. And you talk about the struggles you had, your parents, but in the book, you write about your grandfather, Konstantine, who's a major influence in your life. And can you just share some of the lessons you learned from Konstantine?
Yeah, actually, my besides the fact by that my grandfather was how to say, the pilot, the warrior actually. And also he managed to graduate in law. And also he was quite extraordinary man, because at that times it was usually not the case how Georgian men would see the women, because they usually wanted them to be in the kitchen and raising children and etc. While he had very revolutionary ideas, actually, revolutionary ideas in terms of how to raise a daughter, how to raise. He himself did not have daughter. He had two boys, my uncle and my father. And actually, I was his first granddaughter. And he totally. How to say, melted out of the love, and he has put everything he could put into me to grow as a strong woman. He had taught me how to carve out the chair, for example, for a wood. He had told me how to hunt when I'm hungry. He had told me how to catch fish in the cold water, stand for hours like immersed in the icy water of the mountainous region of my country. And everything with these steps he was wanted me not to, how to say, only teach me how to survive, but also to know how to think creatively. And when you want something, you should achieve it by yourself with your own hands, even if you have this like bare hands and nothing more. So that's how he raised me. And he even told me that no matter how many times you would like get you would get married, just be happy and marry each time until you get happy. So that was quite a revolutionary for Georgian men at that times. And that's what has influenced my whole career and my side of and the point of view of life, love, and affection.
Wow, what a great story! Thank you very much for sharing that. I mean, that's awesome. It's funny. I think as Americans, we are very privileged into not knowing what it's like to have war on our own shores. And as someone who's read up on World War II, and even like if you read up on what's happening now in Ukraine and other countries, that even though war may be happening, people still live their day to day. Like I remember when I first started reading about World War II, and you would hear these stories of the Blitz and how Hitler is, I think Lufthansa or whatever, their like Air Force would just bomb all night long. But then during the day, the British would just like live their life. They go to work, they go out to eat, and then there was this incredible imbalance of like it's almost like a crime fighting superhero. It's like by day they're regular people, and by night they're getting bombed. You sort of went through a similar thing where you were growing up through this revolution, being breaking off from the USSR. Is that how it was for you too, where you were able to separate not only all this wartime stuff and revolution, but also like a normal life? Like, can you explain it in the best you can as to how you're able to do that?
Actually, for me, that's why I say that the generation of my parents and my grandparents is are the heroes for, because they most and utmost level of the patriotic feelings, I think, is to stay in your country while your country is in a trouble. And that's what they were doing. With one hand, they were doing their own stuff, in which they were perfect at doing their professional things in the morning, because my for example, my parents were doctors, and they as in my book I have described it, they were usually doing their jobs even not being paid for that. And yes, and they were going and like, for example, bringing their children to the school at the risk of, for example, being robbed, being stabbed, being killed, being everything. And But if you stop at that time, and if you stop doing to your things, then you like give up the future. You are giving up for the future of your children. You are giving up for without any fight for your future and freedom. So and my country's history is full of wars and fights, and it is like really how to say, embodied in every spirit of Georgian nation, to stand and fight with all the mirrors they can. So yes, it is how to say, incredible. But yes, we were doing this together. And they during the war, even when we were like in the direct war, the Russians stood like in mere kilometers from our like capital, and we still were sitting in the in the banks, in whatever like institutions, and doing our stuff. And we were ready for that because, for example, my father told me that he was not going to leave anywhere, that he was going to defend his family, whatever happens, that he doesn't care because it is his land, his nation, his daughter, his son, and his wife to be defended. And he took his like the hunting gun as was and was waiting. And while I was sitting in the bank and sitting in the credit committee, and my mother was in the front line. She was a military doctor, and we could not even find her for 3 whole days where she was, and these 3 days was the total number of the days of the whole war in 2008. So that's what we have survived recently, and they how and still we are here.
It's amazing. It's phenomenal. And to quote World War II again, it was almost like I remember as someone who was dumb and uninformed. I remember when I was reading about the Holocaust, I would be like, "Well, why didn't a lot of these Jewish Germans or Europeans leave?" And then you kind of said it perfectly. It's like it's our home. This is where we belong. And so there's something like very heroic and admirable about that. So again, thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to ask you to share something else that's super heavy, and that's something you get into the book about your family and everyone in Georgia went through all this, but then you have the unfortunate luck of then marrying the wrong guy, and you talk about your ex-husband in the book, and I want folks to read about it. So I don't want you to go into too much detail, but tell me about like going through everything we've just discussed, and then now the fact that you grow up, you go to school, you become educated, but then you marry this person. Tell me about this part of your life.
Actually, when looking at this period from this point where I stand, I can be also thankful because without that experience, I wouldn't be as strong as I am now. And I would not be grateful for him for having me this possibility of being mother at that age, because it differs. It is like how to say, for me at that time my daughter has been as an angel, like who came out from the clouds and saved me, and this contrast and this, how to say, bond wouldn't be as strong as it is now without having this bad experience with my my husband. So today I feel gratitude, only gratitude and nothing more. And besides the fact that you can imagine how to say the teenager, yes, because I was still was in my teens when I got married, and having to go through the struggles of my country, struggles within the university, struggles within the family, and all together it was like three heavy pillars standing on my young shoulders. And I think that we have such a proverb, if it can be like translated accurately, I can say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So that's how I can describe my life at
Wow.
that period.
It's a lot. I'm telling you. And then on top of all of that, you become this incredible financial leader. So before we get into your current role as being a CFO, what drove you into the world of finance? Because you mentioned your parents doctors and such, and so what led you into that avenue? And then obviously you've done incredibly well for yourself, but like what led you there?
Actually, yeah. What was still my grandfather was the guy who has taught me how to think about what career path to choose. And he always told me that I would be great at being, for example, a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, but also take into consideration the fact where you can make money, how you can survive. So, in order to go to that part of living, then analyze wisely where are the gaps of our nation's needs, and the actual ability of the market, how to say, if I can describe it like a market, to deliver this demand, or to fill this gap of such kind of demand. So when I started to analyze it, and when time came at school to decide where I wanted to go and develop my career, I thought about that a lot, and I saw that after the collapse of Soviet Union, all that gaps of management, marketing, finances, the how to say, all this stuff was inexistent here. So I decided to do my business administration. And while doing so, I understood that where I feel most comfortable at were figures, were finances. I was good at math, at a lot in analytics. And so I decided to specialize in finances, actually. But still, I can say that even at my job, I'm a multitasker. Still, when I'm not doing only not only the finances, but also making strategic decisions, and also how to say, I'm also having this opportunity to be developed in various directions, because s- still Georgia is a developing country, and each and every path you choose, you can diversify. So it is the thing that I like the most, and that's why I can feel that I have still a lot to do here, and that's what gives me the drive. That's what makes that's country's evolution inspires me, as I can describe it. So
That's great. And you seem like you've learned a lot, not only in life, but in business, because from reading the book, you talk about, working your way up through the Bank of Georgia and then jumping to your current organization. What it seems like bravery is just part of your DNA, like these bold decisions. Were you apprehensive at all of, like, man, it's hard enough to be a woman in this world, in Georgia, in finances, but then for me to take a risk and leave sort of the safety of the Bank of Georgia, and then jump to the CBS group. Tell me about your decision making.
exactly, that's the thank you for asking me that, because that decision was one of the hardest decisions I have ever made in my life, because at that time period I had like small child to grow. I have no enough finances to give her everything I wanted to give her. I was like, even like, how to say, making economy on such kind of things, like walking the long distances by foot, in order to make an economy on the transport and etc. So but still something inside me was telling me the thing that I should take. If I don't take the risk now, then I won't have any opportunity to grow. Then I won't have any opportunity to do something that I always dreamed about. And I understood that I should not give up the dreams for stability, because sometimes stability locks you in something that doesn't give you the opportunity for, even for your daughter, or even for your future. And that's how I when I got this, how to say, the opportunity. But at that times, I don't know whether I could call it an opportunity. It was something that I should have to build from zero, and that what inspired me. Because in the bank, where everything is already in its how to say, in its shell, it has its own rules, its everything. I knew that I could not make a change, and while have this challenge of doing something from the 0 point, that meant that I could do something myself. So as I saw it, as I dreamt about it, as I could, like, how to say, with the mold with the clay, something that I thought was right and correct.
So obviously you love your country. You stuck by it. I mean, at this point in your life, you being this successful, you could leave if you wanted to, but you choose to stay. Tell me about, and you kind of mentioned it, it's a very young country in retrospect, but it also has its issues. It has corruption issues. It has gender equality issues. Tell me about your love of the country. It almost sounds like you love it as much as Grandpa Konstantine.
Yeah, I can say that my country is young because we have Asian history, but yeah, if you count it from the collapse of Soviet Union, yes, we are a young country, and what I can say that my love towards my country is, and not only my love, I think that it is in our DNA, in our Georgian DNA, where we have fought, fought for our identity a lot. And it is definitely very hard to survive here as a female. And now nowadays it has been changed a lot, actually. It has changed a lot because there have been a lot of access to the Western education. There has been a lot of access of help from the Western countries, and that's why, for example, my daughter would never understand how hard it was for me, for example, to climb the career ladder. Because when at the first time, when, for example, I entered the this organization, and I had to do lots of stuff, for example, uh, the 100% of the C-level managers were composed of men. And when attending the meetings, uh, even though I was like saying something revolutionary, something good, something like savvy, no, they were not listening to me. And then I managed how to navigate through this, and I managed how them to believe that at the first hand this was their idea. So and it didn't matter for me whether things were done out of my idea. And this is the difference between like the women manager and men manager, because men like to be like the idea generators, and if they believe that it's their stuff, they will do everything to achieve that. So I managed time by time to make them believe that it was their stuff, uh, at the first hand. And afterwards, truth is always truth. And step by step, I gained this credibility. I gained this ability to be listened. I gained this ability to be respected. And beside the age, I was able to do lots of change in my organization. But still, there were some bright uh, uh, examples, because when I came here at my organization, the founders and the shareholders of the company and the CEO of the company has believed in me. So this means that still in the man world there is still still the light in the end of the tunnel, where man always sees a woman. Because without that I would not be here. They saw me a small girl with braids, with like colorful colorful the denim and etc. It was really hard to believe whether I could do anything, but still they believed in me. They believed in what I was, and I'm very thankful for them, because that's what gave me a faith, and the faith in that turbulent situation as well.
Wow, there's a lot. It's a lot going on there, Tamar. And I wrap up these podcast conversations talking about the dedication of the book and take folks behind it. And you kind of mentioned the reason, but you dedicate the book to my amazing daughter and to all daughters and women everywhere. Why was it important to obviously your daughter's been a driving force in your life, but why was it important to dedicate the book to her and the other women around the world?
It's she's a teenager, and as a teenager, she's like now destroying the image of her mother and is building her own personality, and that's why I want. That's when the women really start to build themselves, how they want to be themselves. So that's why I dedicated to my daughter being a teenager and all the teenagers and all the women and all the mothers in the world, because they are building the future. How they will grow their children will affect our future in the at the end. So that's how I wanted to emphasize the how to my parents' role in me and my role in our future, in our generations to be raised. So that's why I have dedicated it to my daughter and to all daughters of the world.
Amazing. Tamar, the book is The Blitz, A Georgian Daughter's Rise as a CFO in the Post-Soviet Era. Tamar, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And that'll do it for this episode. If you want to find out more information about Tamar and our other amazing authors, go to theauthoritycompany.com.